At 2 a.m., a girl suddenly added me on WeChat with the note, "I'm your boyfriend's girlfriend." My heart skipped a beat, but I accepted the friend request. She sent me a photo of Ethan Leong fast asleep. Calmly, I replied, "You're the third." "I'm the third?" She sent back a meme about expanding horizons and said, "Nope, you're the fourth." "I'm the fifth." Me. Her. "Free tomorrow? Let's go find numbers 2 and 3 together." Later on, the four of us created a group chat. Not only did we ruthlessly spend Ethan Liang's dumb, rich kid money, but we also frequently met up to play mahjong, until Ethan's family started pressuring him to get married, and we decided to play a bigger game. At 2 a.m., just as I finished writing and was about to shut my laptop, someone added me on WeChat with the note, "I'm your boyfriend's girlfriend." My first thought was that it was a prank. Aside from me, where would Ethan Leong even get a girlfriend? Sure, he's handsome and loaded, never short of female attention, but in the 2 years we've been together, I've pretty much trained him well. He was even planning to introduce me to his parents to discuss marriage. Where would he get the guts to cheat? Absolutely impossible. Just as I was about to delete the friend request, the other person sent another message, and one of his girlfriends. All right, playing it like this. Huh? I'll see for myself who's pretending to be mysterious. I decisively accepted the friend request, but before I could say anything, they sent a photo of Ethan Leong sound asleep. Huh? What's going on? How is this possible? Didn't he say his uncle passed away and he went back to his hometown for the funeral today? Is this photo fake? Before I could process it, they sent over a dozen more photos, each one intimate, some clearly taken in bed. The girl in the photos was adorable, with big round eyes and a round face, mostly dressed in cute little dresses, very much the anime culture type, completely different from my style as a glasses-wearing shut-in. From the photos, they'd been to Disney, the aquarium, and even the beaches of Sanya together. Wait, why is she sending me these? Before I could ask, she spoke first. "Hey sis, what a coincidence. Our boyfriends are actually the same person. Talk about fate. What kind of tone is this? Is she provoking me?" I asked her bluntly, "Are you the side chick or am I?" She replied with a big picture meme, "Neither. Based on what I know, you're number 4 and I'm 5. Me. Is this some obscure code? Is this even real?" While I was still reeling, she asked, "Are you free tomorrow? Let's meet up and go find numbers 2 and 3 together." Wait, let me process this first. Is any of this actually real? My boyfriend of 2 years, the one I was about to introduce to my parents, the one I was planning to marry, has a whole roster of girlfriends? I'm not even full-time. I'm on some kind of rotating shift schedule. So, sis, you in? When I didn't reply, she pressed again. Even if she's telling the truth, isn't hunting down numbers 2 and 3 a little unhinged? She seemed oddly unfazed, sending multiple messages to persuade me. No, I think this is thrilling. Not everyone gets to experience something like this. After all, most people deal with one-on-one situations, but we're different. There's strength in numbers. Sisters, we must unite and stop more people from being deceived. Fighting against scumbags is everyone's responsibility. How should I put it? The moment I found out Ethan Leong was cheating, I was shocked and devastated. But hearing her say this, I suddenly felt inexplicably fired up. A bolt of righteous light exploded above my head. And from then on, I felt a newfound sense of duty to uphold humanity's happiness. I can't let all the mistresses out there down. I need to step up. Yeah, it's decided then. All right, I'll listen to you. Let's meet tomorrow. Over the next while, she briefly explained her relationship with Ethan Leong and reminded me to keep all evidence of their romance. It would come in handy later. According to her, her name was Mandy Lin, a female game streamer, and Ethan Leong had long been her top donor. It wasn't surprising they got together until she accidentally discovered Ethan owned multiple phones and multiple girlfriends. He would order the same bouquet of flowers several times over, the same designer bag he'd have purchased in bulk through proxies, the same resort hotel he'd revisit repeatedly, even identical black stockings from the same online store. He bought them wholesale. At first, She couldn't believe it. After all, Ethan had treated her well during their year together, even mentioning meeting parents and marriage. Then during a date watching Neza 2, when Lady Yin's death scene played, she reached for tissues. Ethan casually remarked, "Why do all of you start crying at this exact scene?" Instantly, she recalled an online joke. A guy commented under a post celebrating the film's billion-dollar box office. "I did my part, took every girl I was stringing along to see it. I did my best. I took every girl I was involved with to see it." In that moment, the realization struck her like lightning. That night, she made Ethan Leong accompany her for drinks, scheming to get him drunk. Then she used his fingerprint to unlock his phone and discovered his WeChat note for her. Little 5/big-boobed airhead streamer Mandy Lin 11, 15. She froze for a few seconds before deciding to take a cold shower right then. Then she spent over 2 hours gathering information about the rest of us. After that, she added me on WeChat. Just like that, we talked late into the night, matching all the details. When dawn barely broke, we finally couldn't stay awake any longer and went to sleep. By the time we woke up the next day, it was already 11:30 in the morning. No time for breakfast. We just freshened up haphazardly and headed out. I felt a little excited, even exhilarated. It's hard to describe. There was this anticipation, like meeting an online crush. After chatting all night, we realized how well we clicked, almost regretting we hadn't met sooner. She was right. The way fate connects people is downright magical. When she saw me, she jogged over, rushed up, and gave me a big hug. Her first words were, "You really are exactly like his note said." What did it say? No. /graceful and intellectual writer Summer Siafor, 25, graceful and intellectual. My foot. I owe him one for that. Actually, I'm just an online novel writer, barely qualifying as a web author. Then, what about the other sisters? My curiosity was piqued. What notes did he make about them? Let me think. No. 3 should be the innocent campus belle Vivian Sue. No. 2 is the cold-blooded shrew. What was her name again? Ah yes, Victoria Jiang. Cold-blooded shrew? Now, that's someone I'd love to meet. Victoria Jiang. That name sounds so familiar. She must be Liang's childhood sweetheart. They grew up together and even had an engagement. Does she know about the rest of us? Why don't you go ask and find out? As she spoke, she pulled out a large blueprint from her bag and spread it across the cafe table. Written clearly across it were the words, "Revenge Plan" in bold letters. At a glance, the plan meticulously documented information about every one of Ethan Liang's girlfriends, including but not limited to where they lived, their occupations, how they met Ethan, how long they had been together, and their hobbies. I was utterly dumbfounded, completely stunned. How could she gather so much in such a short time? Sis, you're a genius, destined for greatness. Following the plan, our next step was to confront the third. She circled Vivian Sue's name on the battle map with her pen. Let's go. We're heading to her school now. I nodded firmly. Once again, I felt fired up. On the way, I asked her, "Won't Ethan suspect us meeting?" "No way. Today's his mom's birthday. He has to stay with her. And if I'm not mistaken, Victoria Jiang is probably there too." "Who's Victoria Jiang?" "The second one, the shrew." "Oh right, I forgot. Sorry, I'm still new to this." We exchanged a glance, then burst into laughter simultaneously. It's strange, but I actually find her to be an incredibly adorable girl. Being with her is really so much fun. Well, Vivian Sue truly lives up to her reputation as the campus belle of the art school. She's genuinely stunning, on par with female celebrities. When she saw the two of us, she was completely stunned. She even thought it might be some new kind of scam, until Mandy Lin calmly pointed at the Chanel 19 bag she was carrying and said, "We both have this bag too. Ethan Leong got them from France as a proxy purchase. Did he tell you it was specially bought for you? And that he planned to introduce you to his family, even marry you? He also took you to Disney in Shanghai and Wuzizu Island in Sanya. Your birthday is August 20th. He gave you a Hermes black/silver Birkin. Last year he gave you a Cartier bracelet And for your 1-year anniversary, he gave you 999 Corolla red roses. Last week, he even took you to see Neza too. And when Lady Ian passed away, he handed you tissues in advance. Stop talking. She looked utterly shattered, her eyes rimmed with red. What do you mean by telling me all this? What exactly are the two of you trying to achieve by coming to me? I answered truthfully. What else could it be? Of course, it's to show you his true colors so you won't keep being deceived. So, what if I'm deceived? The money he spends on me, is that fake too? Who cares about what's real or fake? Whether he loves this or that, or even several at once, I couldn't care less. Okay? Mandy Lynn and I exchanged glances. We never expected her to react like this. After a long pause, she simply threw caution to the wind and told us bluntly, all I care about is his money. I need his money, so I won't be part of your plan. And one more thing. She stood up to leave. I wouldn't mind if you broke up with him and I became his only girlfriend. I'd love for him to have just me. If he proposes, I'll say yes. Wait, I just don't get it. Do you love him that much? Mandy Lynn also stood up, her emotions rising. What's there to love about a scumbag like him? Aren't you afraid he'll catch something outside and pass it to you? I'm not afraid. So, what if I get infected? It can't be worse than my current situation anyway. She nearly ran away in tears. Mandy Lynn and I stared at each other, frozen in place. Who would have thought such a beautiful girl could be so spineless? What could she have gone through to develop such views on marriage? And why is she so desperate for money? My gut told me Vivian Sue definitely had a story, or rather, a hidden struggle. All these questions would soon be answered. Before we could even approach the second target, Victoria Jiang, the Jiang group heiress engaged to Ethan Leong, she sought us out first. She even told us she knew about our plan and wouldn't mind taking it up a notch. She wanted to play big. Turns out, Leong Corporation, where Ethan Leong worked, was facing a financial crisis and urgently needed a marriage alliance with the Jiang group. Victoria, unwilling to comply, saw this as an opportunity to outright swallow Leong Corporation. I even suspected the crisis at Leong Corporation was orchestrated by her. She's no shrew. She's clearly a decisive and capable powerhouse. How utterly cool is that? Will you help me? She looked at me and Mandy Lynn with sincere earnestness. If this succeeds, I'll give each of you $5 million as compensation. How much? $5 million? I swallowed hard, my eyes practically sparkling. Really? Of course. I'm sick of being a pawn in men's power struggles. In ancient times, women were sent off as peace offerings. Now, they're forced into political marriages. Who the hell wants to be a tool? Why should women be tools? What I've always wanted is to stand at the top of the food chain, to be the one who makes the rules. Mandy Lynn and I were stunned speechless. What do we do? Victoria Jiang's presence just made things even more intense. Completely fired up now. All right, we'll do whatever you say. Mandy Lynn grabbed my hand and spoke firmly to Victoria Jiang. Just then, our phones buzzed simultaneously with a WeChat message from Ethan Leong. We exchanged a knowing glance. It seems the game has officially begun. He messaged on WeChat saying he was feeling down and wanted to go abroad to clear his mind. The difference was, he told Mandy Lynn he was going to Norway to see the Northern Lights, while he told me he was heading to the Alps in Switzerland to herd sheep. Everything else was exactly the same. How should we reply? We both turned to look at Victoria Jiang. After a brief pause, she said to Mandy Lynn, "Tell him your family is pressuring you to go home for blind dates, and you can't take it anymore. Press him. Ask if he really wants to marry you. If he does, you'll go with him. Otherwise, you don't want to waste any more time. As for you," she turned to me and continued, "you reply saying you can go, ask when he plans to leave, and then mention you need to stockpile drafts in advance, so you won't be able to meet often for a while. Later, ask him again if he's serious about marrying you." We nodded obediently. Then we asked her why she arranged it this way. She said, "First, he mustn't find out we already know about each other. Second, make him think you both want to marry him. This will lower his guard. Then I'll proceed with the wedding as planned. And when the time comes..." I get it now. Mandy Lynn suddenly stood up excitedly. We'll appear together in wedding dresses when the time comes, just like in those TV dramas. Oh my God, this is so thrilling. We rolled our eyes at her speechlessly. She chuckled awkwardly and sat back down. Sorry, I got a little carried away. Where were we again? About holding the wedding with him as planned. I reminded Victoria Jiang, and then, ring. Victoria Jiang's phone suddenly rang at that moment. She stood up to take the call, then said to us, I have to leave for something urgent. Remember to follow through with what we discussed earlier, and find a way to add Vivian, Sue, to our group chat. Got it. Don't worry. Mission guaranteed. Not long after she left, Ethan Leong replied to the message. He told Mandy Lin that his intention to marry her was absolutely genuine. Mandy pretended to be thrilled and asked when they could go wedding dress shopping. He said he'd arrange it once he had free time soon. As for me, he said it was no problem. Just let him know after I finished saving the manuscript, and we'd schedule a trip to Switzerland together. So during this time, I raised my eyebrows mischievously and said to Mandy Lin, you'll have to endure accompanying our boyfriend for a while. She looked utterly resigned, yet determined. Don't worry, for the greater good, I'll endure. Progress was fairly smooth. Over the following period, Ethan Leong indeed showed no suspicion. When he took Mandy Lin to look at wedding dresses, he even said many heartfelt things to her, that his greatest dream in life was to marry her, that she was the girl he'd wanted to bring home from the very first moment he saw her. He even said that if this wish truly came true, he'd feel his life was already complete. When Mandy Lin played the recording for us, we nearly vomited from disgust. But to be fair, if we hadn't known about each other's existence, we might have genuinely believed ourselves to be the happiest women in the world. After all, the depth of his affection didn't seem acted at all. If this level of acting were in the entertainment industry, he'd have swept every major award by now. Of course, he didn't just spend all his time with Mandy Lin. He would still send me good morning and good night messages on schedule, check how my manuscript drafts were coming along, and ask when we could meet. He even said to me quite domineeringly, why bother working so hard? I'm rich enough. Supporting you is no problem at all. Also, I've already arranged for someone to handle the adaptation of your novel into film or TV. Just wait, I'll make you famous sooner or later. Having a talented wife like you, I'm fucking lucky. Truth be told, he'd said things like this many times before. Over these 2 years together, he really made me feel he was loving me with all his heart. On one hand, he'd say he couldn't bear to see me work so hard and would support me, while on the other, he backed his words with real actions. You could say he was the perfect embodiment of my ideal boyfriend. Handsome, wealthy, generous with me, understanding, devoted, willing to give me a tangible future through his actions. Everything. But honestly, I don't understand. How can someone be so schizophrenic? I found it hard to imagine, and even harder to believe that someone who had loved me so devotedly could simultaneously love several other women, making each of them believe his feelings were genuine. No, I couldn't dwell on this any longer. I was on the verge of tears. Enough. What's done is done. Overthinking won't help. Better to accept it calmly. During that period, aside from dealing with Ethan Leong, I often met up with Mandy Lin. Unexpectedly, we once ran into Vivian Sue drowning her sorrows at a bar. At the time, she was downing glass after glass, her face flushed red. There was a dangerously alluring, broken beauty about her. Just as I was about to greet her, I suddenly saw her being forcibly dragged away by a middle-aged man. She resisted, but lacked the strength to fight back. Mandy Lin and I immediately followed them. How long has it been since you last came home? Got money to drink, but none to spare for your old man? The middle-aged man grabbed Vivian Sue's long, wavy hair and yanked it downward violently. You little bitch. Have you forgotten who raised you and your brother? If it weren't for my kindness back then, you'd have been sold off to some brothel by now. His grip was so strong that Vivian was forced to tilt her head back, facing the sky. I noticed silent tears streaming from the corners of her eyes. Strangely, she didn't resist at all. as if she were used to it. Mandy Lynn couldn't take it anymore. Muttering a curse under her breath, she charged at him without hesitation, but she was clearly no match for him. Seeing she was about to get hurt, I spotted an empty beer bottle by the roadside. Without thinking, I grabbed it and smashed it over his head. Crack! The bottle shattered on impact, shattering the night's silence. While he clutched his head, howling in pain, we grabbed Vivian's hand and hurriedly fled the scene. On a deserted pedestrian overpass, Vivian Sue gazed at the traffic below and told us her story. Turns out that middle-aged man earlier was her uncle. She and her younger brother were raised by her aunt and uncle. Her aunt had treated her decently, but passed away from colon cancer 2 years ago. Since then, her uncle had started gambling, accumulated massive debts, and frequently abused them. What about your parents? I asked with aching sympathy. Didn't they care for you at all? Dead. Her tone was eerily calm, crushed to death at a construction site. After a prolonged silence, Mandy Lynn tentatively asked, "So you need money so desperately to help repay his debts?" "Help him? I wish he dropped dead. I need it for—" Her voice cracked with unmistakable tears. "For my brother. He's sick, in the ICU now. The money barely keeps him alive. He's my only family left in this world. I can't give up on him. Do you understand?" "We understand." "Then stop competing with me for Ethan Leong, okay?" "What?" We could hardly believe our ears and stared at her in shock. She nearly sobbed as she hissed at us. "I'm not like you. I fought hard to be with Ethan Leong. As long as he's willing to give me money and stay with me, I'll do anything. But, no buts." She cut me off sharply. "I don't care what you do. Just leave me out of it. I'd even be glad if you broke up with him, so I could have him all to myself." Mandy Lynn and I exchanged bewildered glances, about to say more, but she turned and walked away. Before leaving, she emphasized repeatedly, "Don't come looking for her again." After returning, we told Victoria Jiang about Vivian Sue's situation in the group chat. She replied with just one line, "Easy. It's just money, isn't it? Ethan Leong isn't the only rich man in the world." The next day, we cornered Vivian Sue at her part-time job. It was at a car exhibition. As a part-time car model, she wore very little clothing, and many bald, old men touched her thighs. But she didn't seem to mind. Just like last time, she appeared irritated when she saw us. Even when we offered her money, any amount, name her price, she just looked at us with disdain and said firmly, "Please, spare me your condescending savior complex. What makes you think I can be bought with money? Ethan Leong not only gives me money, but also sleeps with me. And he's damn good in bed. I'm addicted. Got it? And one more thing." She practically warned us. "If you really care about me, don't touch him again. Not even once. He only sleeps with me. He's mine alone. Have you lost your mind?" Mandy Lynn was clearly furious, scolding her in frustration. "Are you that desperate for a man? Fine. We can find you as many as you want. Enough to satisfy you. I only want Ethan Leong." I stared at her speechlessly. "Don't tell me you've actually fallen for him?" She paused, then yelled at me. "So what if I am? Is that not allowed? I love him. Love him enough to share him with others. Satisfied? Now, can you get lost?" With that, she turned and walked away. She looked like an enraged leopard. Holy shit. Mandy Lynn kicked the roadside railing with a bang and muttered under her breath, "Must have been fucking desperate in my past life. Acting like I've never seen a man before. Swallowing anything. Even pigs aren't this indiscriminate." All right, don't be angry." I pulled Mandy Lynn away and truthfully reported the situation to Victoria Jiang in the group chat. She said nothing, only informing us of the wedding date. It was very soon, early next month, and just this month, Ethan Leong seized the opportunity to take me to Switzerland, as promised, for herding sheep in the Alps. Though I resisted internally, for the sake of the bigger picture, I went along. On the very first day we arrived, he surprised me by holding up a flawless 10-carat square-cut diamond and proposing on one knee. We were at the foot of the Alps, with sheep grazing freely and a babbling brook nearby. The scene was almost too perfect to be real. This exact moment, I had described it to him countless times before I knew I was just his fourth mistress. Ironically, He kept his promise to me, but all I felt was disgust. Even with his wedding to Victoria Jiang approaching, he still proposed to me, no doubt to keep our illicit affair going after marriage. He wanted it all. Me, Mandy Lynn, Vivian Sue, and who knows how many other mistresses. Numbers 6, 7, 8, and beyond. Despite knowing his intentions, I pretended to be thrilled and moved, letting him slip the ring onto my finger before giving him a light hug. He tightened his embrace, then lifted me off my feet and spun me around. That night, when he tried to get intimate, I claimed it was my period. He called my bluff, reminding me it wasn't due for another week. See? Still so thoughtful. He even remembered my cycle down to the day, but I still risked angering him and firmly refused. I don't know why. Vivian Sue's repeated warning kept echoing in my ears. He can only sleep with me. None of you can touch him. My intuition told me there might be deeper meaning behind those words. Perhaps we've all misunderstood Vivian Sue. My speculation was soon confirmed, but before that, her actions once again shocked us, completely reshaping our perception of her. Ethan Leong and Victoria Jiang's wedding proceeded as scheduled, held on a secluded, yet breathtakingly beautiful island. The ceremony was small and private. Still, Victoria invited several influential media outlets to document it as a keepsake. As planned, we appeared in wedding dresses simultaneously when the officiant announced the ring exchange. Not only that, but the large screen behind them switched from displaying their wedding photos to showcasing intimate details of Ethan's relationships with each of us. The crowd erupted in uproar. Every friend and relative present was utterly stunned. The prearranged media immediately captured Ethan Liang's panicked expression in a flurry of camera flashes. He was clearly terrified, his voice hoarse even as he tried to defend himself. "Who are you people? I don't even know you." He practically snarled at us. "Oh, I get it. You were sent by a competitor, weren't you? Trying to ruin my reputation? Or destroy Liang Corporation? Let me tell you, slap. Before he could finish, Victoria Jiang struck him hard across the face. The crowd fell silent for a moment, her eyes red with grief. She said to him, voice trembling, "Ethan Leong, we grew up together. We've been engaged since childhood. Tell me honestly, haven't I treated you well all these years? Hasn't my Jiang family been good to you? And this is how you repay me?" "No, listen, let me explain." He grabbed Victoria's hand, desperately trying to justify himself. Slap. Only to receive another slap across his other cheek. "What's left to explain?" She pointed at the screen behind her, voice breaking. "Isn't this evidence enough? These are all fake. They can all be fabricated. You have to believe me. I really don't know them." Ethan Leong, Mandy Lynn lifted the hem of her wedding dress and stepped forward, her voice trembling with tears. "You don't know me? Was everything between us fake? It was you who took me to the bridal shop. You who personally chose this wedding dress for me. And you who said you wanted to marry me from the moment you first saw me. Come on, everyone, listen to this. See if these are his own words. See if I'm lying." With that, she raised a voice recorder and began playing the recording. It was the exact segment recorded at the bridal shop. Ethan Leong was clearly panicking, but still stubbornly insisted the recording could have been synthesized. At that moment, I signaled and played the video of him proposing to me at the foot of the Alps on the big screen. Yes, I had secretly filmed the video. With this, he had no defense left, his face instantly turning ashen. But this wasn't the end yet. Suddenly, the hotel doors swung open, and Vivian Sue walked in wearing a wedding dress. Clutching a medical record filled with various test reports, she gracefully made her way to the center of the stage, holding up the medical record as she addressed the crowd and media below. "Hello, everyone. My name is Vivian Sue, a senior college student. This is my pregnancy test report. I'm carrying Ethan Liang's child. He promised to marry me and give our child a complete family, but I don't understand why he's here marrying someone else." Ethan Leong, her eyes brimming with tears as she looked at him. "Can you give me an explanation? Were all those words you said to me lies? What am I supposed to do with our child? Her performance was too heartfelt, too convincing. Tears began streaming down her face the moment she finished speaking. For a moment, I even doubted, was she really acting? But the pregnancy, could it be real? How was that possible? Was she trying to force Ethan Leong to marry her using this child? Up until this moment, the scene had completely erupted into chaos. Before Ethan Leong could respond to Vivian Su, his father lunged at him in a frenzy, raining down blows. You beast, you've disgraced our Leong family and ruined the corporation. I'll beat you to death. Overcome with rage, his blood pressure spiked dangerously. In the end, he collapsed unconscious on the spot. Just like that, Ethan's father was rushed to the hospital for emergency treatment, while his mother, sobbing uncontrollably, was helped away to follow. As for Ethan Leong, he tried to flee, but found himself surrounded by a swarm of reporters. Cameras and microphones were all pointed at him. There was no escape. Mr. Leong, is it true you cheated on multiple women simultaneously? Did you really get a college student pregnant? Do you have anything to say to your bride? Rumors suggest your marriage with the Jiang Group was a business alliance. Now that it's collapsed, what are the Jiang Group's next steps? There are claims that the Jiang Group is facing bankruptcy. Is this true? How do you plan to explain yourself to those girls? Besides them, do you have any other girlfriends? Mr. Leong, please answer the question. Mr. Leong, surrounded on all sides, Ethan Leong was on the verge of a breakdown. He swung his fists wildly at the crowd and roared, "Shut up, all of you, shut up, get out, all of you, get out." Well, I don't know if others left, but we certainly took the chance to slip away. We slipped out to celebrate, but Vivian Su still didn't join us. We invited her to the group chat, but she never accepted. Could it be that she really is pregnant with Ethan Liang's child and truly determined to marry him? Was her joining us in disrupting the wedding today actually a ploy to force him into marriage? The answers to these questions soon became clear, because a few nights later, Ethan Leong suddenly knocked on my door. He said his love for me was real, his desire to marry me was real, and that he had come to apologize was also real. Of course, I didn't believe him, because Mandy Lin mentioned in the group chat that he had approached her too, but she happened to be out of town on business. To this day, he still treats everyone equally, like perfectly balanced bowls of water. Are you saying all this just to disgust me? I couldn't even fake politeness toward him. Does it even matter if it's true or not? I don't care at all. I just want you to disappear from my world forever. Get as far away as possible. You're literally a stain on my life. Understand? As I moved to shut the door, he suddenly grabbed the handle and snapped at me in frustration. I thought you'd be different from other women. Smarter, more sensible, not so damn old-fashioned. But I guess I was wrong. Summer Xia, I really overestimated you. What's that supposed to mean? His words left me utterly baffled. He shamelessly explained. So, what if I have more than one girlfriend? So, what if I'm married with a wife and kids? As long as we love each other and are happy together, isn't that enough? He looked at me with an utterly disappointed expression. Marriage is just a shackle, a restraint on human nature. Why should having a wife mean you can't have girlfriends too? Besides, it's not like I can't afford to have so many girlfriends. I can give them money. I can give them love. Why can't you all coexist harmoniously? I couldn't be bothered to say another word to him. I felt like this man had completely lost his mind. I pried his fingers off one by one, shoved him out, and gave him one last warning before slamming the door. If you dare harass me again, I'll call the police. Unsurprisingly, the three of us unanimously blocked all his contact info. During that time, we watched the whole thing unfold online, laughing at the spectacle his family had become. However, Vivian Su was the complete opposite of us. As she wished, we all broke up with Ethan Leong. He was truly hers alone now. She even held his hand, fingers intertwined, flaunting their love on social media. She said, "As long as you still love me, that's enough. Fine, respect other people's life choices. As long as she's happy." Not long after, it was rumored that she had lost her child, and in a hotel at that. From the photos circulating online, The person accompanying her out of the hotel didn't seem to be Ethan Leong. Rather, it was one of Ethan Liang's business partners. The exact nature of their relationship and what happened in the hotel remained unknown. But even more shocking events followed. A few months later, Ethan Leong was diagnosed with the HIV virus, which quickly triggered a cascade of illnesses. Doctors grimly warned his family to prepare for the worst. Everything happened too suddenly. His mother collapsed from grief multiple times. His father was also hospitalized repeatedly due to soaring blood pressure. It could be said their family had completely collapsed. The companies under their name, big and small, were almost all acquired by Victoria Jiang. The Leong conglomerate was no more. Only the Jiang Empire, only Victoria Jiang remained. So, during that period, she was busier than ever. And at last, she proved her parents that a girl could achieve greatness through her own prowess. That she wasn't just a tool for business alliance marriages. She was busy with her own affairs. Meanwhile, Mandy Lin and I were planning where to go for a getaway. After all, once the Jiang heiress transferred the promised $5 million reward to us, we got a little carried away and couldn't resist splurging. We ultimately decided on Antarctica. Before leaving, we heard another bombshell. Vivian Su was also terminally ill, as she carried the HIV virus. In fact, Ethan Leong had contracted it from her. Rumor had it that during the company's bankruptcy, Ethan Leong, desperate to secure funds, sweet-talked Vivian Su into using her body to win over investors, even though she was pregnant at the time. For some reason, she agreed. That was also when she lost the baby, and the virus likely infected her then too. Heartbroken and disillusioned, Vivian Su ultimately decided to drag Ethan Leong down with her, which led to his later infection. But I always felt things weren't that simple. Long before, when Mandy Lin and I went to see her, she had repeatedly emphasized to us that Ethan Leong was hers alone, and neither of us could touch him. Is it possible that from the moment she learned of Ethan Liang's betrayal, she had already decided to take revenge? By forbidding us from touching him, was she actually protecting us? Yet this approach was far too extreme. She was willing to perish alongside him, to throw away her life over a man. Surely it wasn't worth it? I couldn't understand it, so I stopped dwelling on it. Not long after returning from Antarctica, I learned that Vivian Su had passed away, leaving behind a letter for Mandy Lin and me. The letter roughly expressed her gratitude for that night outside the bar. When Mandy Lin and I intervened as her uncle was about to hit her, she said it was the first time in her life someone had stood up to protect her, and in that moment, she had already resolved to take revenge on Ethan Leong alone, because between her and Ethan Leong, there was also a sea of blood and vengeance between them. It turned out that the construction site where her parents had their accident was contracted by Leong Corporation. She had gotten close to him later for revenge, but when her younger brother was diagnosed with leukemia and needed a vast amount of money, she forced herself into a relationship with him. But Ethan Leong toyed with the emotions of countless women, and for his own gain, he used her as a tool in his power struggles, even sending her to the beds of business partners. In other words, her desire for Ethan Liang's death had been festering for a long time. I'll see for myself who's pretending to be mysterious. She felt the heavens were aiding her, finally allowing her to drag him down to death with her. She said, I never expected the only warmth in my life would come from two complete strangers. Thank you for protecting me, for being willing to help. I hope, in another life, we can be friends. She also said, don't grieve for me. This was my choice. My brother passed away from leukemia, and there's nothing left for me here. I'm just too tired. I only want to reunite with my parents as soon as possible, even if it's in the heavens. After reading all this, Mandy Lin and I held each other and cried for a long time. All the details we hadn't understood before now had answers. Turns out she was never a lovesick fool. What she wanted wasn't just Ethan Liang's money. It was his life. When we visited Vivian Su's grave, Mandy suddenly said, you should write about our experience. I hope you can give Vivian a good ending. I don't want her to lie here forever. I was thinking the exact same thing. So 6 months later, I wrote a novel titled his fatal girlfriends. The ending went like this. Eventually, the four of us created a group chat, not only spending his money recklessly, but also regularly meeting up to play mahjong together. Everyone got hurt in this relationship, but in the end, no one got hurt in this relationship. Without exception, we all moved on.